Hi, everyone. Welcome to our channel again. There's been a lot of interest to know about second passports, golden visas, diplomatic passports. Today, we have Philippe May, who is the managing director of Arton Capital and also the Honorary Consul of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I think he's the best person to answer all our questions because he is in this industry and he's right here in Singapore, but since it's locked down, there's nowhere for him to escape. So we have reached out to him on the Zoom call, and we're going to find out. So, Philip, you want to say a few words about yourself, other than what I've said?
Yes, good morning, Jacob. Thank you very much for reaching out to me. I'm happy to answer your question on residence and citizenship by investments. I am Philippe May. I'm the Managing Director of Arton Capital here in Singapore, as you said, and Honorary Consul of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Pleasure to be with you and on your YouTube channel.
Thanks, Philip. I think you are my first ever interview via Zoom. Usually my channel, those who know and are subscribers know that it's usually face-to-face, and it's most of the time it's my daughters interviewing me. So welcome to the family.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, so I wanted to start off because this is an area that has a lot of interest. And I think especially, we are all living in emerging economies. So immigration and wanting to start a life somewhere outside this region appeals to a lot of people. So there's a lot of people searching for second passports, residencies to a Western country and things like that. Who are the kind of people who genuinely need a residency or a second passport? Who are the people who come to you?
Well, there is people from all walks of life, but generally you have people from countries where the quality of life is not very high. India, China, Philippines, places with big cities, with mega metropolis, with pollution, where people are maybe able to make some money, but not able to enjoy a very happy life due to traffic jams, environmental issues, crime, etc. So a lot of people from developing nations that are doing well economically, but that offer a limited quality of life. Then there are people who, and they are often the same actually, who hold a passport that is not very useful for travel. Passports where they need a visa anywhere they go. If you are an Indian national and you live in Singapore, even if you want to take the boat to Batam or cross the causeway to Malaysia, you need a visa. That's not coming in handy. And other people, again, they want to protect their assets. They want to have a plan B in case things go wrong where they come from. But again, all these categories are overlapping. So maybe it's easier to say which clients we don't have. We don't have many clients from Singapore or from Switzerland. These people are happy where they are. Tax rates are low. They travel anywhere visa-free. So I'm based in Singapore, but we are not really serving Singaporean clients. Most of our clients come from India, China, Indonesia, and the neighboring countries in Southeast Asia, such as the Philippines, Vietnam, etc.
So, okay, let's put it this way. People who come to you, are they of a specific age bracket? Do you see a lot of young professionals coming to you, or is it mostly businessmen who are already well off?
No, there are people of all kinds of ages. And remember that family applications are possible in many countries. So people who are in their 50s or 60s can include their children who are up to 30 years old in some countries. On the other hand, if you have a young entrepreneur, 7, 8-digit guy who is in his late 20s or early 30s, he can easily include his parents as long as they are 55 and above. So we see people of all ages.
What about people who are, let's say, starting off on a good career, but in a country like Philippines, India, China, Vietnam, and should they consider this as part of their career planning or future planning? Let's say they're making about $80,000 to $100,000 a year, not that much money, but they're starting off in their career. They're 24, 25 years old. Is this, now, there's shows like Millennial Money and things like that put people into planning for their future, for being financially independent and things like that. Do you think that this is something people at that age should look at, or they should just wait till they've got a few $1 million in the bank?
Not necessarily. They don't need to wait. We also see a lot of those younger folks who want to get the second passport for different reasons. Firstly, they want to be able to pursue their career in different countries. If you're on a Filipino passport and you have a job offer somewhere, let's say in Holland or in the UK, you may not even be able to fly there for the interview because you don't get your visa, or you don't get your visa in time. On the other hand, we have a lot of those people with small children who want to get the residence and eventually, after some years, a passport in Europe, because this residence allows them to apply for citizenship later on down the road after 2 years or 5 years, depends on the country. And by that time, their kids will still be small or maybe teenagers. And then they can go to university there. They don't need to go to US, to private university, pay high tuition fees, but they can go to European universities at local rates. So yes, there is a lot of young people as well, not only the millionaires and billionaires.
Yeah, but when you, so when people come to you, so everyone has like a different solution, right? So it's dependent on how long-term their planning is, what is their goals, is it tax saving, is it for future of the kids, things like that. And so you have to make a custom solution for each person that approaches you. Is that how it works?
That's correct. You have about 15 countries which offer either a citizenship or a residence by investment. The residence by investments usually can turn into citizenships after a few years. Every case is different. Everything depends on what is your goal, what is your family setup, what is your time frame. If you want a top tier A passport quickly, you need to shell out more money than if you can wait 5 years. That's obvious. Some people, they don't have time. Some people, they say, well, they don't need a tier A passport, tier B is good enough, but they want it quick. Okay, also possible. So there is something for everyone. It's not a two-dimensional thing of time and money only. There are other factors as well. There is family structures, there is personal preferences, there is lifestyle issues. Everything is interconnected and quite complex. That's why it's important to sit down together with professionals from a reputed advisory company like Arton Capital. Don't go for the small agents, the fly-by-night ones that may have only one office in one country. Look for the big players, integrated companies with multi-jurisdictional offers, with government mandates and licenses.
That's a good point you raised, because you have a government mandate, right? I think you have several government mandates.
Yes, we have currently 9 government mandates where governments from countries have tasked us to promote or design their investor immigration program. Montenegro in Europe, for example, has 3 such government representatives. We are one of them. They started last year. Another one we have from the Solomon Islands in the Pacific to set up a new program. We are one of 22 licensed agents of the government of Quebec in Canada, and so on and so on. This is very crucial. So if anybody talks to you about investor migration, about second passport, ask them, where are you licensed? Where is your head office? Which governments have endorsed you? How many offices do you have, etc., etc. This is very important.
What would be some of the red flags that people should look and use that to avoid some of these fly-by-night operators?
Well, if somebody...
I can suggest, if somebody asks you to pay by Bitcoin, that's a red flag, right?
Okay, firstly, if somebody says that you can get a second passport very quick, in a matter of 2-3 weeks or a month, if they talk about countries which do not have investor migration programs, watch out. African countries, they can say, oh, I can get you a passport in somewhere in Africa within a month, and it's very cheap. That's dodgy. Look at the companies that they represent. Check them out online. Where are they incorporated? In a first-class jurisdiction or in a dodgy place where law enforcement is weak? How many offices do they have? Call their fixed line. Check if somebody answers or if it's only a virtual office.
Mhm. And so let's take a short, quick dip into some of the countries that you offer in terms of residences and passports. In terms of residences, why do people look for residences? Is it so that it's a more long-term strategy that they don't want to, it's long-term in the sense the entry barrier is lower, and also after a few years, they can naturally apply for citizenship? Which are the programs which are popular in this?
At Arton Capital, we see different reasons for people applying for a second residence. Some of them, they like that place, want to move there, stay there forever. Let's say Canada, Quebec. Good program. Arton Capital is licensed for the Quebec Investor Immigration Program, which is a bond program. You need 1.2 million Canada dollar in bonds. You love Canada, you go there. If you don't go there, you lose your status. So you have to go there and you have to spend a lot of time there. Eventually you can naturalize, but that takes years. Other people, they take a residence in a Schengen country in Europe, like Portugal, where they don't need to spend a lot of time physically. 1 week per year is enough. And this residence allows them to travel visa-free, not only to Portugal, but to any other Schengen country anytime. So it's like a long-term visa for them. On top of it, they may naturalize in Portugal after 5 years if they have been there every year for a certain period of time, but not too long if they have a basic language knowledge. And other people, again, they want to retire. They say, well, I may want to live in Europe or somewhere else later on. I'm not going there now, but let's prepare that because who knows, things may change. Let's get the residence now and move there later. These are the motivations for the people.
So what about, let's say if I take a long-term residence, golden visa thing in Portugal or any other offering, what about taxes? Do I pay taxes like I have to pay, let's say if I'm from India, I pay tax in India, do I have to pay tax in Portugal as well?
That's a very complex issue. In general, you pay tax in your country of residence. Okay. If you get the golden visa in Portugal, that does not necessarily make you a tax resident in Portugal. And many countries only tax territorially, they only tax income from sources in the country. So if you take up residence, let's say in Portugal, and you don't have revenues from there, you don't pay taxes there, even if you have a right to live there. If you own a property and you have revenue from that property, obviously you pay tax on that property. But again, Arton Capital is an immigration advisor. We are not tax advisors. So we strongly urge everybody to consult with the tax specialists, and we are happy to introduce them to do a proper pre-immigration tax plan.
So, okay, finally, I want to come to Montenegro, because I've been looking it up. It's an amazing country. It's a beautiful country.
Indeed.
And yeah, but you know, it's not part of the EU. It's not part of Schengen.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah. So, why should people be attracted to it? And also, let's say I become a Montenegrin citizen or anything. You know, we have to address the elephant in the room. Are Montenegrins going to accept me as a citizen? You know, because I'm not from there. I don't speak the language. I don't look like them. So that's a real question that a lot of people have.
Okay. The way you look like is not the problem. Now, what is important is that you have a clean criminal record. That's the key thing. I assume you do have that.
Yeah,
and
I hope so.
Therefore, it shouldn't be a problem for you to apply. What language you speak or how you look like, it doesn't matter. Montenegro is indeed an amazing country in Southeastern Europe, near Italy, Greece, etc. While it is not a member of the EU or of the Schengen zone, Montenegrin citizens still travel visa-free to the Schengen zone and to the EU, just like Americans or Singaporeans or Japanese. So you don't need to be an EU member to travel there visa-free. The only difference is that you do not have a residency right in the EU. If you are a citizen of, say, Portugal, you can move to France and stay there as an EU citizen. If you're a citizen of Montenegro, you cannot do that. You cannot move to France just like that because you're not part of the EU. But who wants to live in France anyway? But that's another issue. So Montenegro is well positioned. They have priced their program very reasonably.
How much is very?
350,000 euro, of which you put 250 in a real estate. and 100,000 is a donation to the government, which is non-refundable. So for 350 in all, you get your entire family a Montenegrin citizenship. You can stay and live in a low-tax country, in a beautiful country on the Adriatic coast at the Mediterranean Sea with a wonderful climate. You are within 1 hour from Rome, from Athens, from Istanbul, etc. And eventually, in a few years' time, Montenegro is likely to become an EU member, so you may even move to other EU countries if you wish to. So Montenegro is a very good option, a very good choice for many, and we have seen the demand for this passport rising since the program started end of 2019.
Mm-hmm. So let me end by asking a more macro question. You know, with this COVID crisis that is going on, you're seeing people voting with their feet on countries that have handled the situation well, safe harbor for people to have the future of their families and things like that. So the industry that you are in, how do you see, are more governments will open up programs like this to invite more talented and investor, entrepreneurs kind of people to their countries? And what should other countries do to attract this kind of talent and keep them?
The simple answer is yes. We see more demand because more people realize the need for a plan B. You don't want to be locked up in a big, potentially dangerous and unhealthy city. You want to have options to get out. And ideally, you want to have a second passport which allows you to do that and go to a safe and healthy place. We do not only see more countries looking at this option, but we also see countries with existing programs improving those programs. So for example, St. Lucia in the Caribbean, where up to now you had to make a donation, a financial contribution to the government, came out last week with a bond option where people can buy government bonds of $250,000, non-interest bearing for a period of 7 years in order to naturalize a family. In Antigua and Barbuda, also in the Caribbean, a new option was opened to donate to the universities of the West Indies. And so we will see new changes and more changes in countries that do have programs. Some of them may have been overlooked and suddenly become attractive. The crisis is a fiscal problem for many governments. They have difficulties to raise taxes, they have shortcomings, and they will look for alternative sources. So in Western migrants, wealthy people, clean immigrants who can bring something on the table, who can contribute to the economy and to the society, they will be welcome. So we are going to see more program, definitely. And Arton Capital will be happy to help you and apply for these.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Philippe. And Philippe, all your details, website, everything is on the description. So anybody watching this want to know more, reach out to him directly. I don't know much about this, so reach out to him directly. And if you have questions about diplomatic passports, how Philippe is the Honorary Consul. So we should have addressed him as Your Excellency, but sorry about that. So he's Honorary Consul here in Singapore for the St. Vincent and Grenadines. And so he will be on, we'll do that second segment sometime in the coming few days. But if you have questions, just write them in the comments and we will read out your comments to him to get a follow-up on this. So thanks a lot again, Philippe. And
you're welcome.
See you soon. Take care.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
Take care. Bye-bye.